All right, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to start your online fitness coaching business from zero and what actually matters, because there's a lot of mixed information out there. What do you follow? Who do you listen to? And there's actually a system to follow that will actually simplify this entire process for you and really eliminate all of that overwhelm you might be facing, regardless of what stage you are in. And that's exactly what I want to go into right now. What stage are you starting at? Well, there's usually 3 tiers. The first tier is you are starting from absolutely zero. You need to learn content. You need to learn how to post. You need to even maybe learn how to film and make content. And you're just overwhelmed by the whole idea of starting your online fitness coaching business. But you know you're good at fitness. You're strong. You're fit. You love helping people, but you just don't know how to put this whole thing online. Now, the second tier you might be sitting in watching this video is you're kind of trying. Not sure who this lady is. I actually just cropped out her name, but she's trying to be an online fitness coach, about 90 followers, posting quite a bit of content, and she's, kind of trying to get this thing going. But what she really needs to do, and maybe this is where you're at, is create conversion-based content. Have a very clear offer. Understand who your ICP is, your ideal customer profile. That way we can actually make marketing campaigns to talk to that audience, that ICP, and convert those clients into paying clients. Now, the third tier you might be in, which is the same tier that my client Tyler here was in when he came to me. He was posting for a while on social media, even had 29,000 followers, but was struggling in converting those eyeballs into paying clients. And he'd been posting for a while, but he just wasn't where he wanted to be. So at this point, you need to have a personalized offer, ICP, and content marketing analyzation to see kind of where you're at. That's what I did with him. And then just get very specific on the actual marketing strategy itself so that we can convert those clients using systems and KPI trackers, etc. So no matter what tier you are in here, regardless of what limiting beliefs you have, what you need, or what you are struggling with, you all have one thing in common. You want to take your online fitness coaching business to $10,000 per month, $20,000, $30,000, and I'm here to help you do that. So I just want you to know it's normal to feel confused. It's normal to see all kinds of different opinions on social media. You're probably scrolling, looking for ideas, trying to figure out how to get this thing going, but you don't really know what to focus on first. And I feel you, because I used to be there. And you're likely not struggling because you don't know anything about fitness. You're actually probably in great shape. You're very knowledgeable about what you do. And it's not that you aren't disciplined. It's just likely that you don't have the right strategy, because you need the right systems to actually be able to grow your online fitness coaching business. Now, when you have a lack of clarity, right? This is when you aren't taking action, when you feel overwhelmed, when you have anxiety because you are lacking the clarity, meaning you're going to be overwhelmed and you won't be able to take action regardless of what tier you are in. So the simple solution here, and this is why this is exactly what matters when it comes to growing your online fitness coaching business, is having complete clarity. Clarity will take away the bottleneck of not knowing what to post, of not knowing how to get clients, of not knowing how to start. Wherever you are, having complete clarity on what to do is when you can finally start taking action. You can finally start seeing results in your business, and it's the simple key to success. How do we get clarity as quick as possible? Well, I want to remind you, it's not meditation, it's not manifesting, it's not hope or luck or copying other people's reels. Right? There's a real way to get clarity, and this is going to fast track your success. And I wish I had this when I was starting or struggling in your position. And what that is systems. Now, systems are just a repeatable way to take action in your business, all the way from posting content to actually getting clients. When you have a system you can rely on over and over again to know exactly what you should do, repeat it day in and day out, is when the outcome will become predictable. So I want to teach you the 3 things you need to do in your online fitness coaching business, regardless of what tier you're in, to start scaling, to start getting past those bottlenecks and start actually seeing results. Step number 1 is we need a content system. This is probably pretty obvious. Now, a content system is something that you can rely on to post consistently. So, what does that look like? Having a consistent content calendar to stick to. I see time and time again, people come to me confused on what should I post today? I don't know what kind of content to post. I'm overwhelmed. Or you just find yourself scrolling, trying to find ideas to start actually creating content. But again, when you have complete clarity on what you should do, you won't be overwhelmed, you won't have anxiety, and you won't be stuck doing nothing or not taking action. So when you have a consistent calendar that we give our clients, just like this one, you know, okay, all I have to do today is show up and post this or show up and make this. And you have a repeatable system day in, day out that is not just randomly posting content and randomly posting workouts, hoping someone wants to buy your coaching, but actually a sequence and a strategy behind the intention of the content you're making to actually get clients. If you remember the girl in tier number 2, she was kind of trying, she was stuck, right? And the reason that is probably because not that she isn't even posting, she was posting every day. But we need to have a consistent strategy to turn those eyeballs into paying clients. And that's what we've done here, right? By having a batch content day, having a relatable posts, viral posts to gain more eyeballs, breaking limiting beliefs with stories, education type content, storytelling content. This entire content sequence itself and mapping it out week to week, day to day, is what's going to allow you to speak to your ICP and create content that actually has intention and power behind the messaging that will actually convert those clients into paying clients, rather than just posting workouts hoping somebody DMs you that they want your coaching. So how do we actually execute this? This is just an example. This is my client Brianna. She has her content dashboard here. This is what we give every client. And I'll just give you a little insider on how this actually works. So what we do is we have our offer lined out. We have everything, our content creation lined out, everything we need in terms of what kind of content we should be making for our ICP. Once we have that information, our brand identity and our ICP clearly laid out, this is when we can actually go into the content system. Now, this is different from the actual content calendar, because the content calendar is just telling you when you should post, what you should post, and planning it out that way. But the content strategy execution portion is where we actually start planning out these reels to execute them in an efficient way and actually just have a system to rely on. Because oftentimes when left to your own devices, if you're honest with yourself, if you just try to make content out of your iPhone and you're just kind of scrolling your camera roll to see what clips you have, kind of scrolling the reels tab to see, hey, what should I post today? There's no real intention behind it. Therefore, there's no consistency behind it, and there's no system you can rely on. For me, I have dealt with anxiety in the past. Having systems to stay disciplined on this has really changed my life. Just like you with fitness. You know, if you have macros you know you're supposed to hit, you are inevitably going to get to your physique goal. Whereas if you didn't have macros and you're just like, oh, I'm going to try to eat healthy. Maybe I'll get a salad from McDonald's and I'll, this looks healthy for dinner. I'll have some broccoli and some chicken, but maybe I'll have like a little popcorn for dessert or something like that. But you're not tracking your macros, but you think you're eating healthy. How are you actually going to get the body you want? You won't. And you know that just as well as I do because you love fitness just like me. So it's the same for your business. It's very similar to your body. It's like you need to have a system, just like you track macros very intentionally. You need to track your content just as intentionally to see real results. So think of your content system as what you are leveraging to get seen, right? Without this, nobody knows you even exist. So we're trying to generate eyeballs onto your page to actually follow you, and not just generate anyone to follow you, but specifically your ICP. So the goal isn't to post more with the calendar. Let's fill up the calendar so you have so many posts going out. That's not the goal, right? The goal is to have more intention behind the calendar, knowing exactly what your pains and problems that your ICP is talking about, things that you get in the DMs, questions your audience asks you. Very intentional about the content you're putting out to ultimately help people and talk to that one person who you're trying to transform their life, and then you're going to attract the right type of attention And that is the psychology behind attracting paying clients into your online business. From there, once you have the content system dialed in, that will usually help with the tier 1 person, but it will also probably help with the tier 2 and 3 person, just depending on what you're struggling with the most. Now, when we go into the next system you need to implement, regardless of your tier, you're going to want to implement a lead generation tier, or a lead generation system. So once we have the audience coming in, the attention coming in, attracting our ICP, with the actual viral content, the strategic psychology content that will attract your ICP, we need to understand one thing, right? And this is something that I had to learn the hard way, that, posting itself, content alone isn't enough. We can have the best content strategy, the best content system, but posting alone is not enough. It's kind of like this girl in tier 2 who's just posting, but not really seeing probably as many results as she would like with her online fitness coaching business. So the reason why I learned this the hard way is I was posting, a few years ago when I was doing online fitness coaching, and I grew to over 10,000 followers on Instagram and 400,000 followers on TikTok. And I was posting, but I wasn't making any money, right? So it wasn't until I actually implemented systems to actually monetize. This is when everything changed for me, and I was able to hit $10,000 a month and continue to grow from there. So what is a lead generation system, right? It's a way to start generating conversation with your followers to get them to turn into a paying client. So it's just one step of the funnel of the process to get them from a viewer to a paying client. How do we get them from a viewer to a paying client? Well, we need to have a conversation with them. How do we have a conversation with them? Well, we likely need to get them into our Instagram DM. So what does that look like? We have nurturing sequences. So this means taking your audience all the way from just being a viewer to a paying client. There's many steps we go over here in terms of a cold audience, people who don't know you, a warmer audience to people who have been seeing your content for a while and are maybe interested, and then we have a hot audience of people who are probably ready to buy. They just need the right content in front of them, right? So no matter your amount of followers, whether you have 90 followers or 900,000 followers, you're going to have a cold audience, a warm audience, or a hot audience, and our job is to speak to them properly with lead generation content systems so we can start generating conversation with those people. Now, we have the entire nurturing sequence there. We don't have time to go into that in depth here on this video, but we're going to go into one section in terms of a nurturing sequence that you can start implementing today in your business. So this is going to be Instagram stories. This is going to be one of the number one ways to start generating leads in your business. And if you are not doing this, you are missing out on thousands and thousands of dollars. Instagram stories is always top of mind. Think about it. You're scrolling on Instagram, you open the Instagram app, you're always going to see the stories at the top. So the more you can master stories, the more attention you're going to grab, the more money that you are actually going to make. So this is the entire story strategy sequence that I do teach my clients. Now, you can try to pause the video, zoom in if you want, but we're just going to go into one section of Instagram stories so you can learn how this kind of works on a tangible level. So when it comes to an Instagram story sequence, this is a sequence of Instagram stories posted all at one time that take the viewer through a process of belief shifting and understanding kind of what your message is to them and how you can help. So we do this in 5 steps. In general, this is just one way of Instagram story sequence. First, we hook them in. So we hook the audience in with our first story, and then the second is we talk about how we helped one of our clients. Again, this is just one example of a story sequence. This one is a case study story sequence. So if you have case studies, or even if you have your own physical result, that's good enough. We have many clients who don't have any clients yet, and then you showcase their own physical result. From there, you would do social proof, so showing that you actually have proof to help somebody or yourself, and then a call to action at the end. What does this actually look like? Well, this is my client, Yannick, and this is how we did it for him. So first, we have the hook. So over the past 5 months, I've helped 15 men, and then we talk to his ICP here. Get jacked, finally have a consistent routine. That's the hook. Then we go into how we help the person. The reason why they were able to achieve this is, again, talking to the ICP. They have a brotherhood of men motivated around them. Their ICP needs that. They stopped making excuses and instead of calling themselves lazy, they started relying on structure. Again, talking to the ICP. And then they committed to a proven plan to get there. This is highlighting that they need Yannick's plan to actually get the result, because they need to commit to a plan to get there. So this is the psychology behind marketing, especially in Instagram stories. Then we go into social proof. Social proof is Yannick showing one of his client results. So Jack started our program feeling lost and overwhelmed with fitness. This is his client Jack, but now he's locked in. As you can see, he has amazing physical transformation here. So Yannick is showcasing his client Jack, saying now he's jacked AF, confident again, and finally trusts himself. I'm so proud of this guy. If Jack's transformation fires you up to take action and you're unsure where to start, DM me Jacked and I'll send over a vid breaking it all down for you. Then at this point, Yannick would be able to send over a video resource or a free resource to actually help somebody achieve their fitness goals even further. And this is a part of the entire nurturing sequence when it comes to actually converting eyeballs into paying clients. People might not reply to this story and buy right away. They might get the resource, be nurtured furthermore, and then want to invest, or they might actually watch this entire Instagram story sequence here and be so convinced that, oh my gosh, I'm the same way. I also want to get jacked, but I'm struggling to not have brotherhood, not have these things, and I want the same result. So when you start creating, right, lead generation systems that you can rely on, and again, Instagram story sequences is just one way of doing this. When you have a system to rely on to consistently put content like this out, again, we have more ways to do it this way. And we have the entire nurturing audience funnel. When you implement all of that, you're ultimately just really getting people to raise their hand and say, oh my gosh, please help me. I need your help. Because we're constantly talking to our ICP through these nurturing sequences in a deep way that people are like, oh my gosh, I actually need this girl's help, or oh my gosh, I actually need this guy's help. So this is the entire strategy behind actually having lead generation through systems. And it's absolutely necessary to grow your business regardless of the tier that you are starting in. Now, scaling and back-end systems. Obviously, if you're starting out, you're not going to need this right away, but it will creep up on you to the point where you will eventually need this probably pretty quick. So you just need to understand, and I just want to explain a few things here about systems and scaling, right? You need systems that will allow you to scale up, because if you do not have a way to actually track all of your leads, automations, and follow up with them, you're ultimately just going to lose out on thousands of dollars because you're letting leads fall through. So it's absolutely necessary to be tracking and having the information you need to actually scale up. So in order to do this, if you're consistently doing guesswork and not tracking any of your progress and just hoping you make $1,000 here or there, you're going to be stuck in the same situation you're currently in. And we need to be proactive in business rather than reactive in business, especially as an entrepreneur when you're relying on making your own money. So systems can tell you what you need to do and also help you identify bottlenecks so that we can be proactive and be able to understand what needs adjusting, what dials need turning in our business so that we can actually grow more efficiently. So when it comes to this is like KPIs, key performance indicators, end of day, beginning of day, CRMs. All of these are absolutely necessary, not only for yourself as a business owner to understand and be able to take a step back, look at your business, analyze it and say, okay, this is where we need to focus more on here. This is where we need to pull back on this. But also eventually when you do have employees, when you do actually hire people, you're going to be able to keep them on track to actually be able to hit certain quotas for the month. I needed some of that coffee. So scaling, it's just a numbers game. And this is what I love about business, especially being a female. females are innately emotional creatures. And so when it comes to business, it's important to not always let your emotions take over or be upset or frustrated that things might be taking longer or things aren't going the way you want. And so what I've learned is numbers actually play in my favor because it's just data. And as long as I'm tracking the data, I don't have to base my emotions off of my business, especially in the past when I was starting out and things felt a little bit more overwhelming. Because when you have systems in your business, if I were to give you the exact systems to scale, to track the numbers and everything else, you wouldn't be so worried about whether or not it was working right away because you would know you're doing the inputs. It's the same thing with your macros. If I give you the exact macros that you need to shred body fat and build muscle and do an entire recomp on your body, you're not going to be upset 3 days in when you don't see results because you know, hey, I have a coach I can trust. As long as I'm doing the macros, I know 3 months from now, I'm going to have a shredded, absolutely insane physique. Right? It's the exact same with your business. Let's just track your numbers, trust the process, trust and rely on these systems so you can grow faster, actually not be all emotional after 3 days and say it's not working. You can actually just trust in the numbers. And this is exactly what we do with our clients. We track content posted, outreach, followers responded, calls taken, and we have systems that automate this entire process so that this entire KPI is filled out for you. And you're actually able to take a look at this again from a high level as a business owner and say, all right, what needs moving? What needles need to be moved? What dials need to be turned in order to actually be consistent, grow my business, and get to the goal for the month that I'm looking to make for my money. So this is essentially the entirety of scaling and backend systems. The last thing I'll mention is even onboarding forms. This is another form of a system we have. So when you do have clients sign up with you, we have our clients ask their clients, when you have a fitness client come on board, ask them, hey, why did you sign up with me, right? They'll fill out this form for why they signed up with you, the reasons why they like you, the reasons why they chose you. At this point, this is a great metric that we can now go and take this information, why they chose us, and actually put it back into our content to attract more and more buyers. A lot of things in business, you just recycle and repeat the information that does work. That's why we track. We track numbers. Did it work or did it not work? We track people. Why did it work? Why did they choose us? When we have the yes answers, the things that worked, we double down, we repeat on them, and this is what makes your online fitness coaching business go from absolutely zero, being in tier 1, 2, or 3, and being able to scale to 10, 20, 30K per month using these exact systems. So this is pretty much it for this video. I want to show you how important systems are, how they can absolutely transform your life and your business, take away anxiety, give you complete clarity, and allow you to grow a business you love in a simple way that does not cause stress and allow you to trust on the system and not your own strength necessarily. So that's it for this video, guys. If you want to book a call below to get more information on how we can actually help you implement these systems and actually transform your business, go ahead and do that with the link below, or you can message me FitBiz on Instagram. That way I'll know you watched this video. And yeah, that's it for this video. I really hope it helps, and I'll see you guys in the next one.